Apples? Well, that was just out in their orchard.
Yeah, I know, but it's...
No, me and my mate Ronnie Swift. I have known Ronnie ever since I was about 6 years old. And as we grew older, we used to play cricket on oval. These days, kids can't find any enjoyment or any entertainment to do. We had to find his own, but didn't have a TV. And so we used to, when we were about 8 or 9, we used to go raid orchard. And we used to get a load of apples. We used to take bags with us, come back with 3 or 4 bags of apples. And I said we used to sell them. We used to put them on like a stone up from there. We did, yeah. And I said, me and Ronnie, whatever we made, I said, we didn't make much. I said, my wage when I started work was only £3 a week, which it were. And I said, we used to sell apples for extra money. But apart from that, we used to smoke. We started smoking at 10 years of age. And we were frightened to death to bring them home. And there's a park, High Hazel's Park, they call it, down in Darnell. And we found a great big tree there. And what we used to do, we used to put a packet of fags in a plastic bag, bury it against the tree, and then we'd go home like getting all fresh air down the throat. And every time we wanted a fag, we'd fly down to the park, get us fags, have a fag, and then go back home. And Mum and Dad never even quizzed on what we were doing. About 10 or 11. That was great fun. We used to go camping. I mean, that was things that everybody does. But when I came here, there was not that much happening. I met your mum, you know that. That were in Bolton. I went in Army. I was in Royal Signals. When was that? Excuse me. But it was good because it learned your discipline. And I think that's what every kid needs is discipline. No disrespect to what you're getting, Mark, or anybody else, but if national service was here and they brought it back in, it would straighten a hell of a lot of these kids out. But, I mean, that was a good experience. And 2 years of that, I could have signed on and got a stripe, but I didn't. And when we got married, me and your mum, we decided to come here because it was boring in the UK. The weather was absolutely terrible. And we decided to come to Australia. And when I came, like as you know, I got a job as a beautician. But then, after I'd finished with that, I went on the buses. I could have got a job at what do you call it, brewery, Swan Brewery. You know, down, what do you call that road that runs Riverside Drive, down in town, where the old brewery building is. Well, that used to be the depot. And there were 5 of us in a car looking for work when we first came. And there was a sign outside, like more or less on main road, saying driver wanted. And Dennis, one of the guys that was with us, he said, "Hey, Brian, you can drive a truck, can't you?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "They wanted a driver here." Stop, John, like John was driving. So anyway, we stopped and I went in. And sorry about that. And we went in and I said, "Oh, I'm applying about that job you've got to advertise up front." And he said, "Can you drive these?" And you know them tankers with tanks. Well, this was a full tank and it used to hold beer. And you used to do 2 trips a week down to Albany. And I said, "Yeah, I'll drive them." He said, "Come on, have you got your license?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Let me have a look at it." So I gave him my license. He said, "Come on, I'll take you for a test drive." And I'd already applied to get on the MTT, as they called it in them days, Metropolitan Transport Trust. That's buses, Transperth now. And I was waiting for my interview to come up. That was due in about 2 or 3 weeks. Anyway, I went for a drive and round town, Perth and whatever. Come back and he said, "Job's yours if you want it. When do you want to start?" I said, "Well, it's wages." And he said, "Well, you pick up around about $80, $85 a week." I didn't know what the wages were on the buses then. And anyway, I went back. I said, "Can I let you know later?" He said, "Don't leave it long." He said, "Job will go." I said, "I'll give you a ring first thing tomorrow morning." So anyway, when I got home, I actually tell your mother, I said, "There's a job going at Swan Brewery. I'll be away for 2 or 3 days a week." I said, "But money sounds all right compared to what I've been told in other jobs." She says, "Oh no, you're away." She says, it's a brewery job." She said, "You'd be better off getting a government job where you've got, you're guaranteed of money." So I sat down and thought about it. I'd only been in country about 4 or 5 days. And I thought, yeah, you could be right. So anyway, I phoned guy up next morning and told him politely, "I'm sorry, but I'm taking a government job." I said, "I'm thinking about all the breweries we had back in UK. They were on the corner of every street." And anyway, so I didn't take it. And I had to wait another 3 weeks before I got the job on Transperth. And when I got there, the first week's wage I got was $38 a week.
Oh.
And I rang the brewery place back home and he said, "I'm sorry, mate, job's gone." I said, "Can you keep me informed if another job comes?" He said, "Yeah." Anyway, cut a long story short, I'm on buses. And went past everything, got through and got my licence and this, that and other. And I got posted at Claremont Depot. And the depot master there was a bloke called Carlisle. And we all had to call him Mr. Carlisle. He was depot manager. And I was always fun. I didn't like having long faces and what have you. Anyway, he put me on a trip from Claremont, Cottesloe, into Perth, over Route 207. And I start driving down there. And after about a couple of months, I'm getting a bit bored. Anyway, they were all, on a Wednesday, all the old people go down to pick up the pensions, and this is true, this is absolutely true. They had to go down and pick the pensions up on a Wednesday. You pick them up on your way down to Cottesloe. And I got to Cottesloe and dropped them off outside Ward's boat building place. They were right outside the terminus. And they'd go in and get the pensions, come back and go back home, like. And I thought, bloody fed up. So I'm sat on that. I know what I'll do. So anyway, as I saw them coming round the corner, a whole lot of them together, I gets on my hands and knees and I'm crawling about bottom of the bus like this. And anyway, they get on and they said, "What's the matter, driver?" I said, "Who is it?" And they said, it's Martha or whatever her name was. She says, "What's the matter? Are you all right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm all right, Duke, yeah." I said, "I've lost my contact lenses." And she said, "What, you wear contact lenses? You're a bus driver?" I said, "Yes, Duke, yeah." She said, "Well, where did you lose them?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "I came to the back of the bus to sit down and stretch my legs out." I says, "And I bent down to pick something up and they must have fell out." I said, "Can you give me a hand to look for them?" There were about 6, 8 of them. And they all on hands, well, they couldn't get down on their hands and knees. But they all looking, and I said, "Watch where you're standing, don't break them for me. Otherwise we're buggered," I said, "because I can't see without glasses." Anyway, of course I don't wear them, so they couldn't find them. So after about 10 minutes, and I'm looking at my watch, like and I'm running late as it were, so I said, "We better go." She said, "You can't see." I said, "Well, I'll tell you what, Martha, you stand up front and hold on to the rail of the bus. I said, Agnes, you get on back seat and let me know if anything's coming. Now, this is true. And she says, well, what do you want us to do? I said, well, you watch out at sides and let me know if any traffic comes down sides. So they all like this. And anyway, Agnes at front, or whoever it were, she didn't say nothing. And I thought, I'll have to wake her up a bit. So I turned wheel a bit, and I hit the curb. You know, when you set off, I hit the curb. And she goes, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? I said, I tell you, you've got to tell me. Straight on, turn right, turn right, turn right. I've got to do a U-turn here, Agnes. I said, I've got to get back to where we've come from. She said, but you can't see. I said, that's why I've got you at the front. She said, well, what do you want me to do? I said, well, tell me to turn right and right and right. Martha, is the oak coming up back there? No, there's no coming. Right, we're safe. Watch out at sides. And this one's, her knuckles are going bleeding white up front. Honestly, they weren't. They were going white. And anyway, I sets off, and I get halfway around this U-turn, because you had to do a U-turn and go back over to level crossing. And anyway, somebody shouts, stop, stop! So I slapped brakes on. I said, what's happening? I mean, I could shout. I'm looking at them a bit sneaky. She said, no, I've got to get off. She said, I can't take this. I'm too old for all this pressure. I said, what do you mean, get off? She says, I'm getting off too. And Martha and Hilda and everybody else got off a bus. I said, I'm only having you on, I can see. And Agnes at front, who were holding it round, said, you can't bleed, see nothing. You've hit curb. You don't know where you're going. I'm off at bus. I'm not getting back on your bus. Anyway, I said, you're not getting back on? They said, no. So I buggered off and left them all stood there. I mean, there's a bus every half hour. And so I left them all stood there. Anyway, by the time I got to Bayview Terrace, there were one of our drivers in a ute there. And he says, he's come up to the bus when I stopped there. I said, Brian, he said, Carlisle wants you back at depot. I said, what for? He said, it's a bit sounds and it don't sound very nice. He said, I don't exactly know what it's for. He said, but you've done something. And I thought, oh, them bleeding women, like, you know. Well, apparently one of them had phoned depot up and they had to send another bus out to pick them up and take them all home. Anyway, I coming back into depot and I saw Carlisle looking through the window because it was like a corner one. And it started off running and he's running towards me, so I put my foot down off bus and went round back at depot and he's chasing after me. And he gets hold of me. And he used to hold you only a little boat. You could have gone like that and knocked him over. And he got hold of my hand and he took me back to the office. And he said, I'm not dealing with you. He said, you're too much for me. He said, you've got to go down to head office and I've reported you. He said, this could cost you your job. I said, I've done that. Anyway, he said, you've got to go and see MrBiggs. And I said, oh, bleeding. Oh, well, MrBiggs was one of the really top guys at head office. Anyway, I goes in and goes in at head office and I said, well, can't they help you? And I said, yeah, I've got to see MrBiggs. Oh, you must be Brian. I said, yeah. Oh, he's upstairs, like, take lift to the top floor, right, okay. Anyway, I gets up there, like, and the office were about 6 or 7 girls, you know, typing and whatever. And I taps on the table, like, I said, got to see MrBiggs. Oh, you must be Mr. Johnson. Yeah, that's me. Anyway, Biggsy came out, and he was a decent-sized guy. And he took one look at me and laughed. He got a smile on his face. And I thought, oh, that's not bad. That don't sound bad. He's got a smile on his face. And I said, oh, I've got to come and see you, MrBiggs. And he says, yeah, come on in, Brian. And he said, what you been doing? I told him story, and I said, oh, I'm fed up. I've been bored all bleeding week. I said, you know. little trips back and forth, blah, 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 no decent. You know, I want to call a decent trip like, you know, a long run like, you know. Anyways, I sit down there, and for some unknown reason, he took to me. You know, when you might find a boss wherever you're working, and no matter what you do, he takes to you just like that. And he said, and he's looking at me and laughing. He said, "It sounds like you had fun." I said, "Well," I said, "it weren't on my part." I said, "They weren't enjoying it very much." He said, "Are you sorry you did it?" I said, "Well, yeah, I am now, I'm here." He said, "Well, stay here for 5 minutes." He said, "Go and get a cup of coffee in the canteen." He says, "And then go back and tell Carlisle I've given you a right stripping down." I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "Thanks a lot, Mr. Biggs." And he said, "Go on, don't let me see you again." So off I went. Anyway, I gets back and Mr. Biggs is all looking at me. And he said, "What happened?" I said, "Oh, Christ." I said, "He gave me a right stripping down." And he said, "Oh, I'm bleeding glad of that. I hope you have learned a lesson." I said, "Oh, yes, Mr. Carlisle, yes, Mr. Carlisle." So I went and I was out on another run. Anyway, about a month later, I'm doing a number 72 from Cottesloe to Perth, straight down Stirling Highway, and then round Riverside Drive as it used to be. And I'd got one of them buses, you know, that had them electric doors. You know, boom, they closed real quick. I don't know if they still got them. But I had one of them. And a guy it was early in the morning, around about 7, half 7. And he used to pass the university, and he'd have a load of people on because they all going to uni. Anyway, this bloke gets on in Bayview Terrace, and he had a plant pot in his hand, or in his arm, like, with a little pine tree about that big. And he says, "University." I said, "Pardon?" "University, I want a ticket." "Come on, I'm in a rush." I said, "Well, you're not going to get very far, you know, talking to me like that." I said, "If you get out of bed at wrong..." This is true, perfectly true, Chris, my heart. I said, "Did you get out of bed at wrong side?" He said, "Oh, you're a public servant, give me a ticket." I thought, "Oh, okay." So I gave him a 20-cent ticket. And I said, "By the way, how tall is your tree?" He said, "What tree?" I said, "Your plant. Where you going to plant there?" He said, "How do I know?" I said, "Well," I said, "there's a bit of a problem there." And he said, "What do you mean, a bit of a problem?" I said, "Well, anything over 2 foot tall, you've got to pay for." He said, "It's a plant, for God's sake." And I said, "Well, I'm sorry about that." He said, "Well, how am I going to measure it? I haven't got a bloody tape." I said, "Well, as a matter of fact, my money bag is 12 inches long. You know, your money bag." So I got my money bag out, emptied all coins out of it, and everybody's saying, "Pay him bloody 20 cents, let's get down here." They're all shouting, "Pay him bloody 20 cents. "No, I'm not paying nothing," he says. So anyway, I emptied it out and I measured his bag, and it was about that much more than bag line. I said, "I'm sorry, but you've got to pay 20 cents for your bag, for your plant pot." He said, "That's a ridiculous bloody thing, that." I said, "Well, I'm sorry, but they're the rules. Everybody's shouting, pay the bloody 20 cents, let's get out of here." Anyway, he said, "We're 20 bloody cents," he said, "I'm going to report you." I said, "Do what you like." I said, "I'm following the rules." So anyway, he paid me 20 cents, I get a ticket, rolled the ticket off, and I stuck it on top of the tree. It's true, honestly. So anyway, we're going down and he's cursing me left, right and centre, and I thought, I ain't done with you yet. Anyway, he said, "I want next stop." I said, "Well, there's a bell there." I said, "If you ring the bell, I'll stop." "I'm telling you, I'm stood here." He said, I said, "If you don't ring the bell, I won't stop." "Ring bloody bell," everybody's saying. It's just as true. So anyway, right bell. And he's getting off and he's cursing me under his breath. And then he did what I wanted him to do. He turned the plant pot underneath his arm. And the tree was sticking out about that far. As he put his foot down on the curb, I slammed the door. And it got hold of the plant pot. I set off and pulled pulled plant out of plant pot. Anyway, I saw him looking at me, so I opened the door, tree fell down, went under the wheels of the bus, and it was all blue, all right mess. Everybody on the bus is cracking out with laughing. So anyway, I gets to Perth, and you go down on Riverside Drive where that park is, down Langley Park, is it? Somewhere? And you do a, terminus there, and then you come back. Well, I'm coming back, and I get to Bayview Terrace, and what's waiting for me? It's Ute. And I thought, oh shit, I'm in trouble again here. So anyway, guy gets out, and he says, Mr. Carlisle wants you, Brian. I said, oh shit. So anyway, I gets back to the depot, and he didn't come out because he knew I'd take off and he'd have to run after me, so he waited while I go back to the office. He said, I'm not messing about with you, straight down to Mr. I said, oh, okay. So I went back down to Mr. Biggs, and I walked into Biggs, I was into the office. He said, not again, Brian. I said, I'm sorry, Mr. Biggs. And he asked me what happened. He always asked for your side of the story. And when I told him, I mean, there weren't no rule on plants and this, that, and other. He said, you should have just let him off. And he said, go and get a cup of coffee and go back and tell Carlisle I've given you a rollick. And I said, okay. I said, thanks a lot, Mr. Biggs. He said, it's a good job. I like you for some reason or other. I like you. He said, go and piss off. So anyway, I gets back to the depot and same story, like, blah, blah. If I do it again, I've lost my job. And we were all right then for about 3 or 4 months. And he used to give me all the shit jobs. And I know why, because I gave, I messed about. Anyway, one day he says, Brian, he says, get the Ute and go and relieve the guy at Bayview Terrace. And do your 4.5 hour stint like. I said, yeah, okay. So, and this is honestly true, this. So anyway, I goes and gets the Ute, and I'd got my bag and all my coins and everything. And I goes down to Bayview Terrace, and I'm sat there. Anyway, bus rolls up, and I'd got my bag back at Ute. But when I noticed, when I got to Ute, there was a white stick, a blind man's stick there. And I'm thinking, what can I use that for? So anyway, bus pulled up in front of me, and I get sold that white stick, and I'm tapping my way outside the bus like this. This is true, this. I'm tapping my way outside the bus. And I said, is that you, Harold? Yeah, it's me, Brian. Yeah, he said, I've done your numbers. I said, oh, you're a break man. Thanks a lot. And everybody's looking at me like, and I've got this stick. So I'm tapping. I said, can you put my machine on for me? Yeah, I'll tell you that, Brian. Have you got it? I said, yeah. He knew what was happening because we all took it to one another. Anyway, he said, I've done your numbers. He said, you're all right. Everything's fixed up, Brian. And he sat me down in his seat. And I'm like, I said, can you move it forward a bit, Harry? He said, yeah, that's fine. So anyway, I'm sat there and I'm looking through, that mirror, big mirror. I'm looking through there like, and they all going, what's he got the stick for? You could virtually hear what they were saying. Anyway, he said, I'll see you, Brian. I said, yeah, let me know when you're off. And he said, I'm off now, Brian. I said, okay then. So I closed doors. There were 2 levers outside here. One went back door, one went front door. Anyway, start the bus up and somebody shouts, where do you think you're going? I said, you're going to Perth, aren't you? Yeah, I'm going to Perth. I said, but you're not bleeding driving, you're blind. I said, nah, I'm not blind, mate. I said, I'm just having you on, just having a laugh. He said, no, he said, you're not bleeding driving. He said, get out, he says, you're not driving me anywhere. Cut a long story short, I got reported again. And I went down to see Mr. Biggs again. Oh, he said, I'll get you a permanent seat down here, Brian. He said, it's a good job Carlisle retires in about 3 weeks. He said, you'll be all right with Newmaster. I said, okay. But he used to let me off every time, MrBiggs. But things I did. I used to take a load of bus. If it was raining and I'd got any old people on bus, I got named driver of the year once, you know. I did driver of the year. And if there were any old people on bus, I'd drop them off at their houses. I wouldn't drop them off at bus stop. I'd say, which street do you live down? Oh, next one, Brian. I'd drive them right down outside the front door. I'd go on and get up. And I did that lots of times. I used to take them home. I rolled home once in Craig. We had a house on Esk Close, I think it was. And it was on corner, and I used to go up to the little round, do a roundabout, come back down. And Jill was at home, and I said, I've come home for a coffee. She said, oh, you tell me. I said, yeah, but make 20. She said, what? I said, 20 to coffee. I said, there's 19 passengers behind me. And they all got off, and we all went in the house with a cup of coffee. Oh, dear. Oh, what a laugh. Oh, honestly, things I used to do is unbelievable. And I got away with it all. I don't know why. Well, I know Biggsy liked me. But I was on Compo. I was coming out of Carnock bus station, you know, on Carnock Road. And I was doing do a right turn to go back down. I was doing the 254. And I'm coming out of there, and a ute came straight up the road and ran inside of my bus. And it ran round with him, you know, driver sense. Anyway, cut a long story short, I got 7 broken pieces of bone in my right foot. And forgot what I was going to say now. Yeah. Oh, anyway, I was on Compo. I had to come off work. They wouldn't let me drive because everything is worked with your right foot on a bus. You know, you brake and you accelerate or whatever. Your left foot doesn't know, you might as well not have one. But anyway, I was on Compo for about 6 months. And can't you remember? You were on Compo. Anyway, they started the bowls. I used to play long bowls. And MTT had a bowling club. And I forgot, I'd got the pot off, but I had it all strapped up. And they were looking for bowlers. And so I said, well, I would, you know, go down for my wages every week, because you used to get paid on Compo. And I'd say, I can bowl. And they said, yeah, but you've got a crook foot, Brian. I said, well, it's not going to stop me. I can stand there and I can bowl. Yeah, all right then, yeah, okay. So anyway, they take all your things. We had a uniform made. And we went to Adelaide. Transperth paid all airfares to Adelaide. Can't you remember me going? We went to Adelaide and we played long bowls. And we won. And before that, we went down south for a test game. And there were me and Billy, him that died. And we went down first. We went in Billy's car. Billy was a manager at Malaga Depot. And he went down to do a record, you know, find out where everything was. And we gets down there and we went into the hotel where we were supposed to be staying. And, it was filthy. And I says to Billy, I said, I'm not staying here. He said, well, there's only other place where, there were 2 places where the guys are going to stay. He said, I said, well, come on, let's go and have a look at what other accommodations like. He said, well, we've been allotted this. I said, don't give a shit, I'm not staying here. So we went and had a look. And it was a bit better, so I said, we'll have this one, put others in another one. So then we went out looking for a thing, and behind the bar there were new girls, or topless girls. And that was fun, that. I'll cut that story short there. But anyway, we come back and we got this Adelaide trip to Adelaide. So we goes all the way to Adelaide, a week and a half I think we were there. And we come back and we'd won and we got invited to Chairman's office. And that was down at head office where I used to see MrBiggs. MrBiggs was the third in line to the top. Anyway, we gets down there and Biggsy saw me like, because he was there with Chairman. Chairman were into, you know, saying, well done guys, this, that and other. And Biggsy looked at me and said, you're on compo, Brian. I said, yeah. He said, well, you're playing balls? He said, yeah. He said, we've paid for your airfare all the way there. You shouldn't be going anywhere on compo. You should have been at home. I said, well, they've let me go. And Chairman come over and he said, what's the matter? And he said, well, they're having a go at me because I've been on compo and I've been to Adelaide playing balls. He said, well, what are you on compo for? I said, broke my foot. He said, bloody hell. He said, and we've paid hotel. I said, yeah. He said, you're not supposed to leave the state like if you're on compo. I said, well, you sent me. You never said no. Anyway, Biggsy said, oh, forget about it. It's Brian. Just like that, it's Brian, he said. So I said, who sits at that top table there? He said, well, that's Chairman's seat. So I went and sat in there. Oh, I used to get away with murder, honestly. I wish I could remember about that, what they call it, beautician job.